Hello viewers, this is Cybersecurity's Beginner's Guide, Basic Concepts. My name remains Vincent Hope. So we're going to be going through the basics of cybersecurity in this first lesson. So let's jump right into it. Now, chapter 1 of this lesson is into 6 series or 6 chapters. So we're starting with chapter 1 of definition of cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is the practice of protecting computers, servers, networks, data, and system from unauthorized access, attacks, damage, or theft. On the internet, on the World Wide Web, there are people who always want to gain access into other people's data. The job of a cybersecurity expert is to stop such people from gaining that access. This picture shows a defense against access. Now, it involves using technology, processes, and policies to secure digital assets, very important, and ensure confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. So the essence of cybersecurity is to protect digital assets, data, information, music, personal information, and the rest of it. So let's make progress. Now, what is the importance of cybersecurity in today's world? 1, protection of sensitive data. What are the sensitive data? We have personal information and business data. What kind of personal information? Cybersecurity safeguards sensitive personal data such as social security numbers, bank account details, passwords, medical records from theft of exposure. Those cyber theft, cyber attackers, or cyber criminals, what they do is to get information about your personal data, and they can use it to steal or take personal data and compromise your data online. Now, when it also comes to business data, cybersecurity helps prevent the theft of intellectual property, customer data, and financial records that could be exploited by criminals or competitors. So cyber criminals are looking for your personal information and your business information. The second function of cybersecurity is to prevent cyber attacks. Now, hackers and cyber criminals, cyber attacks such as phishing, malware, ransomware, and denial of service attacks are prevalent and can lead to major financial and operational disruptions. Strong cybersecurity helps defend against these threats. So there are different strategies cyber criminals use, like malware and ransomware. Your job as a cybersecurity professional is to stop that. Now, let's look at ransomware. Ransomware is one of the most damaging forms of attack, where attackers encrypt or hide or code a company's data and demand a ransom to decrypt it or decode it, causing significant financial and reputational damage. So ransomware, an attacker attacks an organization, encrypts the information or hides the information or converts the information into what is called ciphertext, and though the owners or the operators of that site cannot have access, and will demand that some amount is paid, maybe in cryptocurrency, before that site can be opened up or decrypted. Now let's make progress. Now, another function of cybersecurity is to maintain privacy. Cybersecurity measures such as encryption and secure access control, very important, secure access control, ensure that only authorized individuals can have access to insensitive information. There are levels of information, let's say, for example, in a bank, for example, customer information, customer bank details, customer accounts, customer passwords. Only customers that have authorized access should have access to it. Any other person should be shut out. So that is one of the functions of cybersecurity. Number 4 is protection against financial loss. Cybercrime is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and organizations face huge financial losses from breaches. These losses not only come from theft of money or resources, but also come from recovery costs, legal fees, and potential loss of customer trust. If you look at this diagram here, there's an umbrella trying to protect this family from theft of their or manipulation of their or theft of their assets like the cars and the house. Now, that is one of the things of cybersecurity, is to protect individuals from theft of from financial losses and from breaches. Now, let's make progress. Now, also, cybersecurity safeguards national security. Now, governments and military institutions face targeted attacks from foreign nations or terrorist groups looking to disrupt critical infrastructure. What are these critical infrastructure? Critical infrastructure like power, like communications, like even defense. If foreign cyber criminals or terrorist groups have access to this, they can shut down a system, and it will negatively and seriously affect the security measures within that state or country. Now, cybersecurity is crucial for protecting national security interests, preventing espionage, which is simply spying, and maintaining the integrity of government operations. Let's make progress. Okay. Now, number 6 is another function of cybersecurity is enable safe online transactions. Cybersecurity ensures that online transactions are secure and that both customers and businesses are protected from fraud and financial theft. There are millions, several hundreds of millions of transactions that go on the internet on a daily basis, and there are also so many cyber criminals. The essence of cybersecurity is to ensure that criminals don't get access to customer details so that they don't steal or from them, ensuring that online activities are safe for anyone who gets on board them. Now, number 7, ensuring business continuity. Cyber attacks or digital breach can paralyze an organization, leading to significant downtime, loss of services, or damage to infrastructure. Now, let's take an example of a bank. A bank, if it's attacked, a cyber criminal can shut down that bank for a whole day or for several days. And if it succeeds in that, the bank loses so much money in terms of transaction fees, in terms of even theft of customer details and customer finances and resources. So cybersecurity can affect a business operation. Now, cybersecurity practices like backup systems, intrusion detection, and disaster recovery plans are vital to ensure that businesses can resume operations after a breach or attack. So after every attack and it is shut down, cybersecurity professionals are expected to reactivate that system quickly so that customers can begin to continue to interact with the business. Now, number 8, increasing trust and reputation. Cybersecurity fosters trust among customers, partners, and investors. If a company demonstrates strong cybersecurity practices, it signals that it values the security and privacy of its stakeholders, which can enhance its reputation in the marketplace. Once customers are confident that they can trust an organization with their details, they will want to do business with their details, because most customers will not want their details leaked or stolen by cyber criminals. Now, let's make progress on that. Okay, 9 points. Cybersecurity also helps in compliance with legal and regulatory requirements. Many industries are subject to laws and regulations such as GDPR, which is General Data Protection, which is used in Europe, or HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act in the US, that mandates strict cybersecurity standards. Failure to comply with these regulations can result in hefty fines and legal consequences. In different countries, there are cyber security, legal, and regulatory requirements which all organizations must follow to protect consumers' data. Number 10 is cybersecurity is also meant to protection of critical infrastructure, which we talked briefly before. Industrial systems such as power grids, transportation networks, healthcare services are increasingly dependent on digital technologies. Cyber attacks on these systems could disrupt society on a massive scale, endangering lives and public safety. Cybersecurity ensures that the integrity and availability of these critical systems. So you can see solar power systems here now. So the essence of cybersecurity is to protect these devices, which are mostly controlled from the cyberspace in terms of their operations. If criminals get access to this, they can shut down operation, denying so many users access to this critical service. Now, number 11, securing the Internet of Things. Cybersecurity is needed to ensure that smart devices such as connected cars, home automation systems, and wearables are not hijacked and used as a points of attack or surveillance. Just imagine that a cyber criminal or terrorist group gets hold of all the Uber cars, let's say in the state of New York or in any other country where Uber operates, and causes enormous traffic jams with the intentions of even robbing banks, getting the police distracted. That can lead to huge losses. So the essence of cybersecurity is to ensure that that does not happen. Now let's make progress. Now, also cybersecurity is also to adapt to evolving threats. As technology evolves, so do the tactics of tools and used by cyber criminals. Cybersecurity is constantly evolving. It's a constantly evolving field that must adapt to new threats, whether it's through AI-driven attacks, new type of malware, or social engineering tactics. So as a cybersecurity professional, you must be evolving, understanding new threats, new systems, new strategies being adopted by cyber criminals who may want to exploit a system. So what are the key learning takeaways from this lesson? One, okay, we have not finished this. Okay, we were talking about adapting to evolving threats. Now, so we have also preventing identity theft, cybersecurity, preventing identity theft. Now, we also have now adapting to evolving threats. As technology evolves, so do the tactics and tools used by cyber criminals. Cybersecurity is constantly evolving field that must adapt to new threats, whether through AI-driven attacks, new types of malware, or social tactics, which we've talked about. So when the attackers are trying to gain new strategies to attack and steal information, cybersecurity professionals should also update themselves. Now, we go back. Now, so then preventing identity theft, cybersecurity practices such as strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, and fraud detection systems help prevent individuals from becoming victims of identity theft, which can lead to huge financial losses. So cybersecurity also helps to protect identity theft where people steal information. In fact, I had just an encounter just yesterday. Somebody broke into somebody's WhatsApp, sent the person's picture, and began to interact with me, asking me that he or she requires some phone. As a cybersecurity expert or one who has cybersecurity knowledge, I knew immediately that that was a form of phishing. So I had to block that line immediately, and I confirmed that the person had left that organization. So that is what it does. They steal people's personal ID and pretend to be the people and use that same ID to get access to other people and do all kinds of fraud. Now, 14, enable remote and digital transformation. The rise of remote work and digital transformation initiative has led to an expanded attack on surface. Robust cybersecurity measures allow organizations to support remote employees and cloud-based services securely. while maintaining control over their sensitive data and information. Remote work has exploded in the past few years, and because people want to be able to work from home, cybersecurity professionals should have to evolve ways to protect, to allow this to happen while protecting sensitive information. So, what have we learned in this lesson? We have learned basically two things. One, we have learned what cybersecurity is, which is simply stopping attackers from stealing vital, personal, and company information with the objective of committing crime. Now, we also talked about the importance of cybersecurity today. We listed the different options. Now we go into chapter 2 of our lesson. Now in chapter 2, we're going to talk about common cybersecurity threats. Now in this cybersecurity threat, we have malware. Under malware, we have viruses, worms, trojans. If you look closely here, you discover that you have viruses, worms, scareware, trojan, hardware, spyware, and the rest. So let's look at what they are. Now, what is a malware? Okay, let's go back. I just clicked. Now, a malware is short for malicious software. It is a general term for programs designed to harm, exploit, and disrupt systems. That's what a malware, a malicious software. Now, let's take simple examples. Now we have viruses. What are viruses? Is that they attach themselves to files or programs and spread when the infected file is executed. Every time, if it's an application, every time the application is started, the infected file creates more infection or spreads the virus to more files. If it is an ordinary file itself, every time you open that file, maybe in Microsoft Word or in any application package, the virus itself is spreading. They can damage or destroy data and systems. Now we also have worms. Now these are self-replicating programs that spread independently across networks without needing a host file or user intervention. What does that mean? In that of viruses, the virus attaches itself to a file, and every time the file is executed, the infection spreads. But for a worm, it doesn't require a file to attach itself to a file. It keeps spreading along by itself. That's why it's called a worm. It keeps moving. Now, we also have Trojans. These are disguised as legitimate software. Trojans trick users to installing them, giving attackers access to the system or stealing data. For example, you will see a program that pops up on your notification and say, install this software. It will help you enhance the speed of your computer or clear the virus. You have to be very careful. If you're not sure and you click it, the attacker gains access to your system and can steal your information. Now let's make progress. We have what is called phishing. This is a cyber attack where attackers impersonate trusted entities like banks or colleagues to trick individuals into providing sensitive information like passwords, credit card numbers, and personal details. Now, a lot of people have been victims of phishing. Sometimes you hear a bank calls you or a supposed bank and tells you that, okay, that your information, your ID card will soon be terminated. Please revalidate and ask you to provide your numbers. That is a form of phishing. Now, let's come to ransomware. A type of malware that encrypts a victim's data, rendering it inaccessible until a ransom is paid. What is encrypt? It encodes the data, transforming it to unreadable text that if the owner does not pay a ransom, the owner cannot get access to the correct readable text. Now, such payments are usually demanded in cryptocurrency. So that is a ransomware. Now let's make progress. Now, we also have what is called social engineering. It's a manipulation tactic where attackers exploit human. Okay, let me go back. Psychology, rather exploit human psychology rather than technical vulnerabilities to gain unauthorized access to systems or information. Examples include pretexting, creating a fabricated scenario to obtain sensitive information. Some data can, sometimes you receive a text telling you to subscribe to a particular information or to a particular site where you win a particular free gift. That could be pre-texting. So you have to be very careful. I think I received one some days ago, and immediately open this data or information, you will get some free prizes. I knew it was pre-texting. I knew it was social engineering, so I did not even respond. We also have what is called baiting, which is offering a tempting bait like free software, which is malicious. So the same thing, they can offer a free software, download this software and it will help to make your system faster or keep your system clean, and you download and you'll be in trouble. Now, we also have impersonation, pretending to be someone trusted to gain information or access. Some few days ago, I got a WhatsApp message from an individual which I had not seen for a long time. I asked, who is this? He sent me his picture and put his name. Oh, I said, wow, that's interesting. I've not heard from you. Are you still with your organization? He said, yes. And I asked him, okay, so what's up? He now said, that he has a serious problem. He needs help to pay his house rent. Immediately, I knew it was social engineering. I blocked the information. But the next day, I met their colleague and I asked and said, that person has left that organization. So you have to be careful. So now let's make progress. That's what is called also now the CIA triad. The CIA triad is a foundational concept which represents 3 key principles used to protect and manage sensitive information systems. 3 principles used to manage sensitive information systems. Now, what are the 3? What is the CIA triad? We have confidentiality, we have integrity, we have availability. Now, what is confidentiality? Confidentiality ensures that information is accessible only to those with proper authorization. This principle focuses on preventing unauthorized access or disclosure of data. And the way to do that is by encryption or access control. What does confidentiality mean? It means that only the people who are supposed to access a particular information actually access that information. So meaning that information is confidential. Now we also have the integrity domain, ensures that information is accurate, complete, and unaltered during storage or transmission. What does that mean? This principle protects data from unauthorized modification. For example, using hashing, checksums. Now, what does that mean? It means that no part of the data is lost, no part of the data has been changed by anyone. So the integrity means the data is complete and has not been manipulated in any way, so that whoever is going to use the data always has the data intact. Now we come to availability. Ensures that unauthorized users have reliable access to information and systems when needed. This principle focuses on maintaining operational uptime and ensuring resources are not disrupted. So availability means that every time the user requires his or her information, is always available. So when dealing with data or security as a cybersecurity professional, your mind or your focus should ensure that every data is confidential, every data has integrity, every data is always available. That is what is called the CIA triad. Now let's make progress. Now let's look at different cybersecurity domains. Cybersecurity is a broad field encompassing various domains that work together to protect systems, networks, and data. The key cybersecurity domains, or simply means groupings or areas or focus areas in cybersecurity, is 1, network security, which focuses on protecting network attacks and misuse. It includes, now, network security simply means how are networks being protected. It's a domain, it's a study, it's an area that is being focused on network security. So what are the things being used for network security? We have firewalls, intrusion detection and prevention systems, virtual private networks, and VPNs. So that is one area. 2, another area is application security. It ensures software and applications are secured from vulnerabilities and development during development and throughout their life cycle. What does that mean? Every application you use should be secure. It should not have unauthorized people who are not supposed to have access to that software should not be able to break in and cause disruptions. And so how do you achieve application security? By secure coding practices, software testing the software before it is being launched, application firewalls. Now let's make progress. Now another security domain is information security. Protects sensitive data from unauthorized access, modification, or destruction, whether at rest or in transit. It involves encryption, access control, data masking. So information security is a domain to study how data is being protected from unauthorized access, modification, or destruction using these methods here. Then we now have number 4, identity and access management. Ensures that the right individuals access the right resources at the right times. It involves multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, and role-based access control. Simply means that identity and access management, that everyone who claims to have the identity, no one should be able to access any system or server or network with somebody else's identity. There should be a way to check and confirm if that person trying to access somebody's email, for example, is the right person. Google does that a lot. If you are trying to access an email from another computer or laptop or system or mobile phone, it generates a multi-factor authentication to confirm that you are the original owner of that account. Now we also have cloud security, which focuses on securing data, applications, and services hosted in the cloud. It includes secure configurations, cloud access security brokers, compliance shared with shared responsibility models. So cloud security is another domain of cybersecurity, where data stored in the cloud, which is data stored outside individuals' server or laptops or systems outside in the cloud, provided by cloud or cloud service organizations, are protected. So it's a domain by itself. Now, let's make progress. Then we have what is called endpoint security. Protects individuals' devices such as laptops, smartphones, and IoT, Internet of Things devices from threats. It includes using antivirus, endpoint detection response, device encryption. This system, endpoint security, is simply at the point of the user, which is, for example, user who is using a computer, you is using your phone, your data is protected. So there are domains, there are systems or softwares to protect endpoint users from attacks. Then there's also security operations centered around detecting, responding to, and mitigating security incidents in real time. It includes security information and event management systems, SIEM, indicates incident response teams, and threat hunting. This is a domain how cybersecurity professionals can use special software to be able to detect intruders, detect attack before they occur. Now let's make progress. Okay, we have the number 8 one, which is the disaster recovery and business continuity. Focuses on ensuring that systems and data can be restored quickly after cyber attack or disaster. It includes backup strategies, recovery testing. So in disaster recovery, which is a domain in cybersecurity, it's a way of focusing on how can a system that is under attack still be allowed to recover from that attack in case the attack shuts down the system maybe for 24 hours. How can it be recovered, and how to ensure business continuity. Now, let's make progress. Now, we also have what is called the governance risk and compliance, GRC, governance risk and compliance. Ensures that cybersecurity policies align with organizational goals and legal requirements. It includes risk assessments, regulatory compliance, security audits. What does this mean? This simply means that every organization is expected to align itself with the data governance structure or policies of that environment, of that state, of that county, of that country. So the essence of governance risk and compliance means that the cybersecurity expert must ensure that these regulations are kept within the organization and there is no breach, or else so that the organization does not suffer hefty fines. Now, finally, we have the physical security, which addresses protection of physical assets and facilities that house IT infrastructure. It includes surveillance systems, access points, environmental controls, and temperature and humidity. So using, for example, surveillance cameras to check who gains access into a building, who gains access into the server room, who gains access into the IT department. So this can be used to protect data. It's a domain, it's a cybersecurity domain which is part of the areas a cybersecurity professional should be aware of. Now, so what are our key learning points here? Number one is definition of cybersecurity. That is what we learned in chapter 2, the first thing we learned. The second thing we learned the importance of cybersecurity in today's world. Then we also learned about common cybersecurity threats. Then we also learned about the CIA triad, which is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Then we finally learned about cybersecurity domains. We now move on to chapter 3. So in chapter 3, we're going to talk about basics of encryption and cryptography. Now, encryption is the process of converting readable text, this is important, known as plain text, into unreadable format called ciphertext. So encryption, you are converting readable data or plain text into unreadable data called ciphertext to protect it from unauthorized access. It ensures that only authorized parties with the correct decryption key can access the original information. Let's take the background picture, for example. This is plain text. The person says hello. It is encrypted into ciphertext, which is a bunch of codes which cannot be read or used or utilized by any person. So that is what encryption is. Now, there are types of encryption. We have symmetric encryption, which uses the same key for both encryption and decryption, or encoding and decoding. Example of the AES is Advanced Encryption Standard. DES, which is Data Encryption Standard. The use cases: data storage and secure communication within closed systems. That's where you use the AES. Then we also have the asymmetric encryption, which uses a pair of keys, one public and another one private, in order to code or encrypt and decrypt keys. Example is the ECC elliptic curve cryptography. Use case: secure email communication, digital signatures. So let's make progress. Now, another term in cryptography or encryption you need to know is called the public key infrastructure, which is called the PKI, which is simply the infrastructure required for encryption and decryption. Now, PKI is a framework of technologies, policies, and procedures. You see, it's three things: technologies, policies, and procedures used to manage digital certificates and public key encryption. It ensures secure communication by enabling authentication. That is what the digital certificates do: encryption and digital signatures. What are the key components of the PKI? It has three components: certificate authority, CA, public-private key pairs, and digital certificate. So let's take the first two. Certificate authority issues and verifies digital certificates, whether the certificates are authentic and from which site are they coming from. Then the public/private key pairs used for encryption and decryptions. Then we have the digital certificates, which bind public keys to entities, e.g. people or websites. For example, if you have a digital certificate, it binds it to your person or your personality, or binds it to your website. So at every time you are trying to access another site, it knows an authentic user or authentic site is trying to gain access. Then what are the applications of these PKIs? For secure email, HTTPS. You will see that hypertext P, then S, which is the secure for websites, and VPNs. Let's look at the background picture. We discover this is the user. He wants to gain access to a website. His certificate, which is this, is verified by a body or a service provider. Now that when the verification is true, To carry out that verification, he or she sends it to a certificate. That verifier sends it to a certificate authority, and if it is cleared, it is returned back. The user can now have access to that site. Let's make progress. Now, another term you need to know in the encryption is the SSL/TLS for secure websites. SSL means secure sockets layer, and TLS means transport layer security, are cryptography tools that secure data transmitted between a user's browser, which is one point, and a website, user's browser who is trying to access the website. Now, if you look at this diagram here, you see that HTTP, which is ordinary hypertext protocol, plus the SSL, secure socket layer, is when combined together, it gives you HTTPS, which is hypertext transport protocol secured, HTTPS. So every site you see that does not have a HTTPS at the end is always at of risk of being attacked, or of risk of being it can become a site where you gain access to that makes you liable to attackers. Now, let me go back. I didn't finish that. Now, how it works. A website provides a digital certificate to prove authenticity. A secure session is established using encryption, e.g. the AES, asymmetric encryption standard, and key exchange, e.g. the RSA or DIFMAN. These are different key exchanges. Data encrypted during transmission, ensuring confidentiality and integrity. What does that mean? From the website or from the browser of the individual who is trying to access a website, digital certificates are required to prove the authenticity of the person trying to access that site, or the website trying to access that site. Now, the uses: protecting user information like login credentials and secure and payment details indicated by padlock icon HTTPS in the browser URL. Now, let's make progress. Now, we also have what is called the end-to-end encryption in messaging apps. End-to-end encryptions, which is E2EE, ensures that messages are encrypted on the sender's device, which simply means encoded, and decrypted or decoded on the recipient's device. No intermediaries, e.g. servers, can access that content. That means it is converted to ciphertext from the sender's end, and also decoded to plain text on the receiver's end. See an example here. Here, Alice says, "Hey Bob," it is sent, it is encoded. When it gets to Bob, it is decrypted. So the Bob receives the same message, but in between it is encoded. Now, how it works: each user has a unique key pair, public and private keys. Messages are encrypted using the recipient's public key and decrypted with their private key. Popular examples is WhatsApp. You know, WhatsApp always tells you that there's end-to-end encryption for their service or for their application. Signals and Telegrams. Telegram also uses that. Benefit: ensures privacy by preventing unauthorized access even by service providers. Protects sensitive information in personal or group communication. So let's make progress. So what have we learned in chapter 3? We have learned 1, what encryption is, which simply means encoding data, hiding data, so that nobody can have access to that data, either when it is with the user or when it is in transmission to another recipient. We also talked about why encryption is important in cybersecurity, which was just briefly explained. We also talked about types of encryption, which we have symmetric encryption, having when the application has both the encryption and the decryption key is the same. Then we have asymmetric encryption, where the public and the private key are different. We also have, which we have talked about, the types of encryption. We also now have what is called the public key infrastructure, which are the infrastructure required in order to be able to determine encryption and decryption on both ends of both user ends. So we also have Finally, we talked about SSL and TLS for secure socket layer and transport layer security for secure websites. So finally, we talked about end-to-end encryption messaging apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, and the rest of it. So this is what we have to cover in lesson 3. So from the first chapter, chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, we have learned some basics of cyber security. We're going to be needing this information as we go on to the practical sessions. But in second chapter, we still have some basics to cover. So we also deal with some concepts before we go into the other lessons where we do practical sessions. So my name remains Vincent Hope. Thank you for watching and learning.